Welcome to the Joyful Health Show. I'm Aubrey, registered dietitian.
And I'm Kasey, personal trainer. And together we're here to help you discover joyful health by grace.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Joyful Health Show. We have the honor of interviewing Katherine Hamilton today about the common question we get, which is, how can I still practice joyful movement if I have a physical limitation or am suffering from an injury? So we're so excited. Welcome, Katherine.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
Okay, so if you're watching this on YouTube, I am here with Katherine right now. It's super exciting. We go way back. We were talking about it, I don't know, probably 8 years.
Yeah, a while. Yeah.
Yeah, interacting with community Bible study.
In and out of each other's lives in kind of funny ways, but always so exciting to meet up again and be buddies.
Yeah, so we get to be in the same town, and we wanted to get Katherine on today because she is an expert in this topic and really has a lot to share from her own personal story and from a professional standpoint. So for those of y'all who don't know Katherine, she's an exercise therapist and corrective exercise specialist centered on holistic health. She has a heart for physical and mental healing, and she teaches her clients how to learn and recognize the body signals to build fitness for long-term activity, injury prevention, and pain-free movement. So she lives and trains right here in Athens, Georgia with her husband and 2 daughters. Okay, so Katherine, tell us a little bit about your history with physical limitations and injury when it comes to exercise. What was like your mental struggle in the middle of that? How did the Lord meet you there, and why do you do what you do as a result?
Okay. So it goes back to, I'm going to take it all the way back to when after I had babies, because that was when the issue of just the weight was very difficult. I gained a lot of weight with my first baby, and then my second, I found out I was pregnant when my first baby was 8 months old. Mm-hmm. And so it was sort of like boom, boom, and I really wasn't through the hormonal period yet. And like I said, I had put on a lot of weight with my first. And so after my second was born, I was carrying a good bit of extra weight. And so I really, I wasn't, this was really before the whole fitness journey for me. I was familiar with fitness and did work out, but it certainly wasn't it wasn't my job at the time, and I wasn't doing it all the time. So at that point, I just decided to, begin to educate myself and how I could be healthy regardless of size. I wanted to fuel my body right and move my body correctly. And so I just sort of voraciously read things and educated myself, and one thing led to another, and I became a fitness instructor and then a trainer. But during that time, as I was getting healthy, it was like this big kind of arc. I did become healthy. I did drop some weight, and that was actually a side effect of kind of the good choices that I began to make and the education that I was getting and all of that. And I just really fell in love with fitness and nutrition and all of that. So I was healthy for a period of time doing the right thing. And then I took a little bit of a turn and got a little bit involved with I'll just say I began to be overly controlling of the food. And I would say it was disordered eating is what I would say, or food control, and also exercise addiction. So it sort of turned bad. It was a really good thing that went awry. And that's because exercise does make you feel really good. It is endorphins. It does meet you, helps you in a lot of ways, especially when you're trying to better yourself and, a young mom, and you got hormones that are crazy and all that. So during the exercise addiction phase, I began to obviously I was overtraining. So I began to really see just one injury after another, after another, after another. And long story short, a knee injury, a torn meniscus, took me out of a marathon training program that I was in. And that was sort of it for me. That was when I guess I hit bottom, to say, that sounds kind of silly, I think, for some people to say, oh, I was training for a marathon and I hurt my knee and that was my bottom. But it was kind of for me. I know that sounds kind of silly, but I just realized that I wasn't doing things that were good for my body, that I was starting to really self-harm, and it scared me to death. And I think that what I began to realize, and, obviously really fell to my knees and asked God to help me through this sort of, I was confused. I didn't know. I was already a trainer at that point. I had clients. I was very busy, and I didn't know what I was if I was hurt. What does that make me? Does that make me, a bad trainer? Does that make me a bad mom? Does it, who am I at this point? And so, just kind of fell to my knees, and he started to show me that I was really involved in self-harm and self-loathing and self-centeredness and sort of worshiping the idol of exercise and really self, because ultimately it was so I could be this person, this, perfect girl, right? And so fast forward, I ended up getting involved in exercise therapy through my own therapy, my own physical therapy and issues that I began to have. And I realized that fitness really isn't about looking a certain way or really anything like that. It's about how it's ableness, right? It's capableness. Being fit to do something is being able to do something. And so why am I treating my body in a way that is taking that away? It's actually fit less, right? So I really just prayed, and God led me down that road of exercise therapy, and I began to help others realize that same kind of goal, being fit and being able and not being, not harming yourself through that overtraining. Mm-hmm. Sort of babbled on that one. Sorry.
No, I love that definition of fitness, like being able to do, whatever it is that you're called to do, or whatever it is that, you have in your life that you're wanting to do. I saw a video the other day. It was a trainer who was training a much older woman, and she had been training just to stand up out of a chair on her own. And she did it in the video, and she was so excited. And that's, to me, what you're saying, this definition of fitness, that we're able to do what we are meant to do or what we're called to do. And so that's awesome. I want you to talk about what you do with clients and kind of how you help them make this shift from maybe moving in a way that's self-harming to moving in a way that's helping them become able. But I also just want to ask a question real quick. When you're talking about, that moment from being a new mom and losing a little bit of weight and getting healthier and fitter, and then it kind of descending into an unhealthy relationship, what I hear is finding your identity in fitness and in being healthy, or being looking a certain way. Maybe it wasn't that, but I know a lot of times people can give compliments after someone has lost weight, or people can start to comment on that. Did you feel like other people's perception of you after you had the baby and when you got into that affected your relationship with movement?
Absolutely. And my relationship with myself. I mean, I really liked myself. I liked who I was. I liked what I looked like. I have struggled off and on with weight my whole life. And although I was never severely overweight until after the babies, I remember my first question I was about age 5, and I was a tiny, skinny little kiddo who ran around outside all day long and played with my friends in the neighborhood. And I asked this little boy down the road named Chandler. I remember him because he was so cute and he was my big brother's friend. And I just loved Chandler. And we sat on the front on the front step, and I was like, Chandler, do you think I'm fat? And he said, I would say pleasantly plump. Now, mind you, I was like super skinny little kid. And I probably had like a little bit of like the baby belly and the baby cheeks and all of that. But you know, that's what he told me. And number one, how messed up is it that I was saying that at like that young of an age? And number two, how powerful those words were to me. So it was an affirmation. Yes, you're fat, really, in my brain, right? To me. Because he affirmed, really. And so I guess what I'm saying is, yes, absolutely. Things that people said to me, the attention that I got changed, the way I felt about myself changed. And I really, really liked who I was. Here's the good list. I was disciplined. I was extremely productive during my days. I felt I was homeschooling my children. I was working out. I was teaching classes, and I was personal training and training myself. So I was like, I am literally Superwoman. I am awesome. And that just makes you want to keep going, right? Because once you hit awesome, you're like not going back, right? I mean, you don't want to go backwards. And so that's sort of like the devastation of what you can do to yourself, because, you know, that was completely worldly affirmation that I was really giving myself and convincing myself that that's where it was at. You know, I mean, God took the back seat for sure. Rather than finding my identity in Christ and loving myself through Christ, it was no. I mean, if I can't do 5 pull-ups in a row or more, or if I can't do this many push-ups, or if I don't have the best shoulders on the block, then I'm nothing, you know? And so it starts out really great, but then, yeah, you get compliments. I got hired a lot. And you think that without being at that level, your value is diminished. And I really believe it's more about self and how you view yourself than really anything anybody ever says to you. It's do you look in the mirror and like that change you've made, or do you value the changes that you've made? Well, those changes might be good, but if you think that your value is based on those things and not in Christ, that's where the, kind of like brain-heart connection explodes or implodes. So you have to be able to, I think, look at yourself in the mirror and say, regardless of what I do, how much control I have over my daily activities, how much control I have over my food. I mean, none of that matters. It's about the fact that Christ has given me life, and he's given me movement, and he's given me this opportunity to live a life and affect others. And it has nothing to do with my aesthetics or really how far I can run or anything like that, So it's how you affect other people. I don't know if I answered that right, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I feel like whenever I was there for a lot of that, like I saw you whenever you had a shoulder injury, and that was after you had really run yourself into the ground. Mm-hmm. But there was still a lot of questioning of like, that who am I kind of question. And so I think for a lot of our audience and our clients, they get really discouraged when they've been a runner for all their life and they get a significant injury and now they can't do that. There is that identity shift. Who am I? Or if you gain weight after pregnancy, who am I now? And it's less, like you said, about the weight and more about the identity shift of like, I used to be this and now I'm this, and who I see in the mirror is not who I recognize anymore. So then you have to ask yourself, who am I? And what can I do? A lot of people think that they are disqualified from joyful movement if they have any kind of physical limitation, whether it's an injury or Or if you're in a bigger body that, okay, well, this gym is not for me, or because everyone looks like this at the gym, or a trainer is supposed to look like this. Right. Or I'm disqualified for being a trainer because I'm injured, or I have disqualified myself, in whatever way it is. And so that can, like you said, that's really leads back to yourself and your own self-efforts, where here at Joyful Health, we really emphasize the point of grace, and no, it's actually God who moves towards us first. It's not us who move towards God and who can achieve these things in order to be a good trainer or a good mom or a good person, because you feel like you can do everything. And what happens when you can't do everything? Well, you're still held. You're still held by the Lord. And so what would you say to someone who has either just injured themselves, or they might feel disqualified from the fitness culture based on the looks around fitness culture, around like being a certain body size or wearing certain clothes? What would you say to that person who is in that spot where they feel like they can't do what fitness looks like?
Well, gosh, unfortunately, it's such the ugly part of fitness and the fitness industry right now is, and especially for young moms. And I don't know why I keep going back there. Maybe, I don't know, but you do feel like you have to be, in the right clothes. You have to have the name brand leggings and look good in them, and, be able to hang through that 1 minute interval and do the high knee run instead of the march in place or what have you. But I just think a lot about movement is really, it's such a gift, and movement is a way to praise the Lord, thank the Lord, be grateful for the ability to, just express that joy through movement. And movement isn't, I'm going to shift back to the word fitness. Fitness isn't, boxing for 3 minutes in a row, or, being able to do jump squats alongside, the next person, or be able to run a marathon, or be able to run a 5K, or be able to walk a 5K. Okay. It's not the presidential test where you can do the mile run, the push-ups, that's not what it is, right? It's who are you inside? Who did Christ make you to be? And how do you express your ableness, right? Through movement. So what would I say to somebody who feels like they can't do it? I would say, yes, you can. I mean, does it take courage to step out into something that you don't feel like you belong in? Yes. Does it take... I think it's very, very challenging to go into an environment that makes you feel less than. And so there's a lot of different approaches I would take. I might say, well, find one that's not, find a trainer, find a friend that will meet you where you are. Some great resources online. Pull up a video on YouTube, follow a true beginner's workout, follow a seated beginner's workout. Those are just real applicable ways to do that. And there are options out there. I think they are hard to find, but there are options out there for everyone at every level. And it just comes back to prayer. Before you begin that journey, just remember to, that's something that shifted for me, was I started to pray before I would work out or before I would eat, cook food or whatever, because I was so stuck in that pattern of, kind of self-hatred. And I needed to understand, well, if I'm going, and a lot of times it was Kasey praying for me, not me. But a lot of times it was like, what am I doing today? Because this is hurting and I don't, and there was still a lot of that battle of hatred, it was like a seesaw, you know. I was like, okay, I'm ready to be me, and who God made me to be, and that's so la la la, yay, right? But really, was I feeling that? No. I mean, there was a lot of still like, but is that real? Is that true? Or am I just saying those things? I was just saying them for a long time. But the prayer, going to the Lord and saying, okay, I know that this is what you want for me and that this is where you have me right now. So help me stay centered in you. You know, help me remember that, you know, I am nothing without Christ, you know, but everything with him. And just to move forward in that and really listen to your body, move the way your body wants you to move, you know, enjoy it, take a walk out to the mailbox, do something that makes you happy. Yeah, that's all I got. Ask me more questions because I just feel like I'm like, blah, blah, blah.
No, I love it. I love it. I think, you know, your level of ableness stuck out to me too, because, you know, maybe, so we have one side of people or one side of the audience who might be experiencing an injury and they feel like they've lost their identity. And I feel like we've spoken to them. And then we might have another side who is fearful of exercising at all. I know for a certain generation, there was a lot of fear about like, if you just do this exercise wrong, like you're going to injure yourself. And it was like, they just don't see themselves as capable of at all of doing even these, you know, of doing anything. And you talked about a few practical ways to get started. If you are in this like lower fitness category, you have never really moved your body in an intentional workout way. Could you speak to that person about the fear of moving their body, of fear of injury? I don't know if you've experienced that after recovery or if you've experienced that with some of your clients.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's one of those things, right? Like you hurt your shoulder and it's like, oh, okay, well, can I do anything, you know, without messing it up worse, or just let it lie for 3 weeks and put ice on it, you know, that kind of stuff. But also just the fear of, you know, not being adequate enough. I think that, I recommend getting a trainer right off the bat, at least for the beginning, because it's really important to have that person guide you through those questions. I mean, Kasey trained me. Why did she train me? Because I was like discombobulated about my own body, you know, but I always say trainers need trainers. I mean, we all need help. We all need guidance. We all need somebody to walk alongside us. That's okay. And, you know, yeah, so I would say reach out, get a trainer, do some research, try to find someone who is going to understand where you need to begin. We know there's all those trainers out there, and unfortunately, the vast majority of trainers are going to be like, I don't care what you say, do 100 push-ups. I don't care that you have tennis elbow, do this, blah, 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 blah. There are a lot of people like that. There are some excellent people who would be very much willing to listen and work the workout around the client. But you need to do that research, right? So you need to ask for a consultation, go in, tell them what you're looking for, tell them where you are. Like, I do not move my body. I am afraid to move my body. I want this to be a slow, steady process. I want to build healthy habits. I actually have a client right now that's making me think of her, who came in and was like, I hate exercise. I don't exercise. I don't want to exercise. I am going to hate every time I come to see you. I'm promising you right now, I'm not going to cancel on you, but I only want to come once a week. Her whole thing is, I am just trying to build a healthy habit. And so, you know, she was like, please don't make me do this. Please don't make me do that. And I was just cheering her on. I was so excited that she came to me and said that stuff right out in the open, and that she was owning it. And she was like, I know this and I want this, but I'm telling you now, I'm going to hate every second of it. And we work together. But it's the right match. It's the right match. So my advice is go out, find the right match for you. Start with a trainer, work out with someone that's going to guide you, but that is going to really care for not only your physical health, but your mental health and emotional health as well. Because it is not fair to throw somebody into, a very intense workout who's not ready for it emotionally. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter physically if they're ready. Mm-hmm. Emotionally and mentally, if they're not there, you've got to take them back to where they need to begin. Mm-hmm. So ask for a free consultation. Say, I would like to meet you before I sign up, because I have some real important, significant things that I'm going to need from you. So I would say start there, and when you find the right match, just show up and forgive yourself too. Forgive yourself for being hesitant, and it's okay. It's okay to be hesitant. It's okay to hate it. It's okay to tell them you hate it. It is. It's fine. Like, you should be honest. You should say, I don't want to do this. This is terrible.
Yeah, gosh, I'm like, what can we talk about more in this limited space of time? So if you, you said all trainers need trainers. Mm-hmm. We all need help and support. As Christians, we are one body, and we can't function as a body if we're not connected to one another in love. And so, like you said, finding someone, it is helpful to have a professional walk you through the basics of how can I help you take care of your whole body in a way that you enjoy. So there's that by grace part, as the grace is you've been given a body, what can you do? And the ableness part does not look like any specific movement mode. If you can open and shut your eyes, that's movement. Mm-hmm. If you can lift the corners of your mouth, that's mm-hmm. movement. Mm-hmm.
Tap your feet, listening to the song on the radio, tapping your feet, moving your arms a little bit. Have fun, right?
Right. Because I just want to be clear that we're not talking about ableness as like looking like any certain thing.
Absolutely.
Because the grace part is that God is moving our heart and our lungs and all of those internal crucial parts of our body. So we can just start there and give thanks that God moves us. He, first of all, gives life to us and breathes that breath of life into us. And so it's receiving mm-hmm. that, and then moving for that joy that's set before you, that he has these drawing you out. What are those things that you enjoy, that you want to feel more alive in your body?
Yeah.
And so as far as being able to, like, if someone is injured right now, I think you've talked about being able to rest and be patient through that healing process. Mm-hmm. Because it's always temporary. Even our bodies in this life are temporary. There's always the eternal hope. And even Jesus had scars. So like our idea of perfection mm-hmm. Is never God's idea. So being able, like you said, to pray and be honest about what it is that you think that you need, and asking God to give you his desires, and he will fulfill the desires of your heart. And so, or delighting yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. So, Katherine, you as a trainer, you went through this, and now you teach people how to move in a very functional way that is holistic, because mm-hmm. what's healthy doesn't just mean like exercise 3 times a week for this many times. It's what's good for, like you said, their mental health, mm-hmm. social health, what's going on relationally, what's going on emotionally, just in life circumstances with stress. So is there anything else that you would like to leave the listener with if they are feeling stuck right now, whether it comes to being injured or feeling stuck, just not sure where to start?
I have a few things that are popping up in my brain. Number one is start with maybe something completely different. So if you are someone who loves yoga, maybe pick a different style of workout. Maybe you do a dance workout online, or something that's just going to be kind of completely off the wall for you. If you are someone who is into high intensity training and you've really just racked up a lot of injuries, do a nice, easy Pilates class, do a yoga class, do something fun, maybe go for a hike with your family if that's something that you need to reconnect. So changing it up, doing things that are life-giving to you. So sit down, pray, think about the things that maybe you've been missing out on a little bit. Do you need to reconnect with your family? Is there a friend you want to reconnect with? Go for a walk, go shopping, I mean, shopping is walking, take a dance class, take a ballroom class. There's just so many options, but sit down and think about what is actually going to be life-giving and for you, and what's going to bring joy back in, that you've just maybe been, we don't think about those things right out of the gate, right? If our identity is here in this one particular thing, then we don't think about the wide variety of other options that are out there. So change it up and reconnect with people. And I don't know why this other thought, it keeps coming up in my brain, but because it does, I'm going to say it. So one of the things that I did actually, when I was scared of the gym, or I was really very depressed. I was struggling quite a bit with just any kind of movement forward. And I've given this advice to a lot of people who don't want to go take that next step. I'm not going to say don't want to go to the gym. That's the example that I want to use, but don't want to take that next step. Just get in your car and drive there first. Like the first day, just get in your car, put your favorite music on and drive there. Whether that's to a park where you like to walk, but you're not feeling it. You're not feeling that drive, or when we're really depressed, we don't want to go. We don't want to do the things that really we know are going to bring us joy. So get in the car and show up. Drive there. Drive right back home. Next day, say, okay, I'm going to drive there and I'm going to just walk in, or I'm going to walk over to the bench, or, I'm going to, whatever it is. Then the next time you walk in and maybe you walk to a piece of equipment, or you drive to the park, you walk to the path and you go find a leaf or something, whatever that looks like. You're taking little baby steps to get to a point where all of a sudden you're on the treadmill, or all of a sudden you're in that Pilates class. I can't believe I walked in there. I am scared to death of people. I'm scared to death of new things. I'm scared to death of looking silly. I'm scared to death I won't be able to do it. But all of a sudden you're in there because you've taken these baby steps and they haven't been bad, That just kept on coming to my head. And I was like, yeah, I gotta give that piece of advice, because I have so been in that place where I was just like, I'm scared to death to do it, to go in. I can't visualize myself doing that activity, even if it is something that I love, a dance class or whatever. So just take those baby steps, one thing at a time.
Yeah.
Does that help at all?
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah, we had I think it was Charlie on our episode, maybe episode 4, which she talked about like the power of just doing like 1%, like
yes,
moving
absolutely.
like 1%. Yeah. And like she gave a similar example. It's like, you want to go on a walk outside, like maybe just go to the door and open the door, like to go outside. Right.
Put the video in, put the dance video in, just put it in and then take it right back out. Like it's okay. Just little steps. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, that's all I was going to say. I just think, and sometimes when you do the thing, like that little thing, you end up doing more than you thought you would do, because you're like, oh, I'm over the hump.
Yeah, exactly.
took that little step. So that is so helpful. And I think all of the talk about identity, maybe you didn't expect you're going to get that when you clicked on this episode, but I think it's so important because it's so tied up in a lot of overtraining, and also, that feeling that we have either of just being fearful to exercise because we don't believe we are a certain person, that we have to be a certain type of person to do that, or when we've lost our identity, we feel like we've lost our identity when we can't exercise or we're injured. So I'm so happy we went there, and I'm so happy we shared so many good practical things, hopefully for you guys. And Katherine, would you just share where people can get in touch with you? Do you train virtually?
I do. I haven't been doing a lot of it recently since when COVID started, I sort of went virtual, but I love virtual training. I am set up for it, so I can dive right back in there at any time. And if people are interested, they can go to my website. It is www.kathamiltonwellness.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Yeah, it's very important, once again, to find someone that you trust. If you're not sure where to start, just you ask around. We would love to help y'all out. If you're not sure where to start, you can connect with us as well. If you need a Joyful Movement trainer, we wholly endorse Katherine. Yes. So if y'all don't mind, I'll go ahead and pray. Is that good?
Great. Yeah.
Okay. Heavenly Father, I thank you that you are the one who breathes life into us and that we get to just receive your life. And when we think about fitness, I just think about what's the fitness of a species? It's to reproduce. And you are here to reproduce life in us. And so I thank you that you give us what is life-giving and that it's a gift straight from you and that we get to move into that by your power. I also think about how great and abundant your love is. I'm going to go ahead and read from Ephesians 3, that you might have the strength to comprehend with all the saints what is the breadth and the length and the height and depth, and to know the love of Christ that surpasses knowledge, that you may be filled with all the fullness of God. So Lord, I thank you for each person who is listening. May you bless them and keep them, and forever move them towards you in your joy. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, friends, thanks so much for listening. And until next time, may you rest in his grace and follow the joy. Bye.